So when it comes to thinking about what we prioritize in our lives, where is our treasure? Where are our hearts? What are the things in your life that you need to make sense of everything else? There's this helpful story that I love, and I came across it a while ago. And it's a story of a professor who stood in front of her class one day, and I'm going to share it with you now. A professor stood in front of her philosophy class and had some items in front of her. When the class began, she wordlessly picked up a very large jar, an empty mayonnaise jar, and proceeded to fill it with golf balls. She then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. The professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. She shook the jar lightly, the pebbles rolled around into all the open areas that were between the golf balls. She asked the students again, "Is the jar full?" And they all agreed that it was. The professor next picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar, and of course the sand filled up everything else. She asked once more, "Is the jar full?" And the students said this time, absolutely, unanimously, the jar is full. The professor then picked up 2 beers from under the table and poured the entire contents into the jar, effectively filling up the empty space between the sand, the pebbles, and the golf balls, and the students laughed. "Now," said the professor, as the laughter subsided, "I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the important things, your family, your children, your health, your faith, your friends, and your favorite passions. And if everything else was lost, and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the things that matter, like your job, your house, your car. Not quite as big as your golf balls, but still important. And the sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first," she continued, "there is no room for the pebbles or the golf balls. And the same goes for life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are important to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Spend time with your children, spend time with your parents, visit your grandparents, take your spouse out to dinner, play another 18 holes. There will always be time to clean and tidy your house and mow the lawn. Take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand." One of the students raised her hand and inquired, "What did the beer represent?" And the professor smiled and said, "I'm glad you asked that. That represented that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always time for a beer with a few friends." or a J2O. Those golf balls show us what our priorities in life are. I wonder if we ever get our priorities wrong. I know I often do. I can spend all my time worrying about the things that are actually just the sand, the small stuff. And in doing so, we often miss out on looking after the big stuff. So make decisions, make conscious decisions about how you invest your time and energy. Are you putting too much into the things that are the sand instead of the golf balls? Are the pebbles and the sand influencing your life and decisions rather than the golf balls? If you're like me, I'm losing my voice, if you're like me, the honest truth is that often it's a bit of both. The challenge is to try and steer it towards the golf balls, the things that are of the kingdom, real treasure, the things that bring life, joy, and help reflect God back into the world around you. I'm going to hand over to Charlie now, who's got a short quiz for us.
Okay, is that on? Yep, great. Right, back into your teams. Turn around to the person next to you. Form a small team around you. You knew same team as you were in earlier. Josh asked me to put together a quick quiz about consumption. There are 6 questions, and we're going to give you the answers as we go along. So you should be able to remember them. Question number 1. About how long does it take a styrofoam cup to decompose? Is it A, 10 years, B, 2 months, C, 400 years, or D, 150 years? Decide on an answer in your group. And the correct answer in your group should have been C, 400 years. If you got that right, you scored 1 point. Remember your score, 1 point. Question number 2. Which uses less energy to produce? Does it use less energy to recycle plastics or to create new plastics? A, recycle. B, create new. Sorry, Paul, I'll stop walking around now. Your correct answer should be A, recycling plastics. Keep a note of your score. Which country consumes, that is, uses or takes in the most energy in the world? Is it Russia? A, China? B, the USA? C, or Canada? D. Have you agreed on an answer? The correct answer for the world's biggest consumer of energy is C, the United States. Who's got 3 out of 3 so far? Yeah, some of you are doing well. Question number 4. How much of the world's water is available for human use? A, 97%. B, 23%, C, 3%, or D, less than 1% available for human use? How are we doing on the balcony? We all right up there? Good, good. Your correct answer should have been D. Less than 1%. About 0.3 is usable for humans. 99.7 is in the oceans, soils, ice caps, and floating in the atmosphere. Question number 5. Which is the most common type of debris that litters our oceans? Is it A, bags, B, plastic drink bottles, C, cigarettes, or D, food packaging? What is most numerous in our oceans? The correct answer, you may be surprised to know, is C, cigarettes. The reason on the Worldwide Fund for Nature, the reason for that is because people discard their cigarettes, they stub them out and discard them on the street, and then rainwater washes them into watercourses, which takes them to the sea, as opposed to other waste, which does find its way into the oceans, but is generally disposed of better. Cigarette butts, because they get discarded on the ground, get washed into the ocean. If you still smoke, stop it. If you throw your cigarette butts on the floor, stop it. Question 6. How many single-use plastic bottles are used in the UK every day? And this is our final question. 18 million, 21 million, 38.5 or 50 million? The correct answer was C, 38.5. Anyone bring a reusable bottle with them this morning? Wave it at me. Anyone got one? Yes. Nikki, you win. I don't care what score anyone else got in the quiz. Nikki wins. So does Ali. Who got 6 out of 6? Who got 5 out of 6? Well done, the guys at the back. Good job. Joshua.
Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, I wanted... have you got my clicker, Charlie? I wanted Charlie to do a quiz about consumption. Think about the things that we use. And how do we resist and stand against this huge tide we see in culture of you must have more. You see that new phone, you must have it. You see that new car, you must have it. You see the person on Instagram with more likes than you, and you must beat them. You must have more. We must consume as much as possible. This world throws at us loads of false treasure like that. Loads of false treasure constantly being thrown at us. And these things take our attention away from God. I think there's a simple but profoundly challenging thing that we can all try to do. Consume less, give more. Consume less, give more. We live in a world where the opposite seems to be true about what we should pursue. But I've found, in the moments when I've been able to live that out, it leads to a far fuller and deeper and more meaningful life. Have we got any pizza lovers here today? Anyone like pizza? Put your hand up if you are a fan of pineapple on pizza. I am surprised that that's not more popular. Okay, I love pineapple on pizza. A number of years ago, I was at a good friend's wedding, and my friend loved pizza. So much so that I thought you were going to steal the pizza there. Okay. So much so that for their wedding meal, they actually ordered in a ton of Dominoes, okay, for everyone. However, I don't think they had properly thought through how hungry wedding guests get. And as me and my good friend Trev were approaching the front of the line, we could see that the pizza was starting to run out. And our friend, the bride, was standing next to it, like greeting everyone as people were coming up. And I could see she was getting quite nervous and quite upset that there were still like 20 people behind us, and there was only about 4 or 5 slices of pizza left on the plate. So me and my friend get to the front, and we see this, and we look behind us, and we saw all. That's not. I'm not good at maths, but when it comes to doing maths in case of pizza, I'm quite good. And I could tell that this was not going to work. So what do? Do me and my friend grab what's left and get it take it away, and we'll eat it before the others get it behind us? Right? Someone just said, "Yeah." You have little faith. Do we take it for ourselves, screw it, get it for ourselves? Or do we look at the people behind us and go, "Oh, okay, I'll just have one piece and the person behind me can have another piece"? Or what me and my friend thought of was secret option number 3. We were close to Tunbridge Town Centre. There's a Domino's in Tunbridge Town Centre. So we went to Domino's, me and my friend, and bought loads more pizza and brought it back for the wedding. I know this portrays me in a good light. I should, however, say that we did eat a whole pizza on the way back from the... So although we did buy more pizza for the wedding, we did eat one on the way back. Consume less, give more, live generously. I was in Zizi's the other week. Myself, Susie and Harry were having a meal out after church. I don't know about you, but I shop at Tesco's and you get some good voucher deals. So we always go out for Zizi's because it doesn't cost very much. And during our meal, there was this lady at another table, and she kept on smiling at Harry through the meal. And we were playing with him, and she kept on smiling at us. And it was nice. And she kept on making those adult baby faces. You know, the ones that everyone pulls at babies, or adults do. And she was doing that throughout our meal. And they left before us. And as they went out, they smiled at us and waved at us. And I was like, I wonder if I knew them somehow. But I don't think I did. And as we finished our meal and asked for the bill from the waiter came over and said, that lady over there paid for it. Consume less, give more, live generously. But living generously isn't just something that we do with our finances. It's also something that we can do with our time, with our energy, with our wisdom, with our knowledge, with our faith. Throughout the life of Jesus, we constantly see him going the extra mile, being generous with all he had. And that's why we settled on one of our values, love generously. So, everyone can pick up their coin, lift your coin up into the air. Take your coin with you this week. Keep it in your pocket, or keep it somewhere where you're going to keep it on you all week, as a reminder to not be like Gollum, but to live generously, just as Jesus calls us to do. So try spotting those moments in the week where you can go the extra mile to help someone. Take it as a reminder that the real treasure in our lives isn't the material stuff we possess, but those things that we put first into the jar with the golf balls. I just wanted to finish with... Let's just look at that for a moment. No. I want to finish with this quick verse in Acts 20:25. It is more blessed to give than to receive. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Let's go into the week ahead of us with that in our minds. Where can we give? Where can we be generous with what we have?